If you have ever worked in the cloud, you know that feeling, right? You're managing all these moving parts, servers, databases, networks, and before you know it, things can spiral into this massive, complex web. But what if you could manage all that infrastructure, with the same discipline and automation you use for your application code? Well, that's the powerful idea we're going to dive into today. I mean, think about it. When you're setting up a new environment, are you just clicking through the AWS console, trying to remember every single little setting from last time? Come on, we've all been there. But that manual process is slow. It is a recipe for human error, and it just does not scale when you need to move fast. There has to be a better way. And of course there is. It's this whole concept called infrastructure as code, or IAC for short. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. We're talking about moving away from the old world of inconsistent, manual, error-prone clicks over to a new process that is consistent, automated, repeatable, and, critically, version-controlled, just like our app code. So if code is a solution, what's the tool? Well, in the world of Amazon Web Services, the flagship service for infrastructure as code is, you guessed it, AWS CloudFormation. This is the engine that really turns this idea into a reality. So what is it, exactly? Well, put simply, CloudFormation is a service that lets you define your entire infrastructure. I'm talking servers, databases, security groups, the whole shebang in a simple text file. You just write down what you want, you hand it to CloudFormation, and it builds it for you. It's all about replacing manual clicking with automated precision. And the benefits here, they are huge. With automation, you can literally deploy an entire application environment with a single command. Think how much faster that gets you to market. Consistency means your testing environment is an exact replica of production, which kills those classic, well, it worked on my machine bugs. You can track every single change in Git, and, this is a big one, if a deployment goes wrong, CloudFormation automatically rolls everything back. That safety net isn't just a nice feature, it is a total game changer for reducing risk. Okay, so to really understand CloudFormation, we have to start with its foundation, the template. The best way to think of it is as the architectural blueprint for your entire cloud environment. So let's take a closer look at what actually goes into one of these. A template is really nothing more than a text file. That's it. It's written in either YAML or JSON, your choice. And in this file, you just declare all the AWS resources you want to create and exactly how you want them configured. This blueprint becomes the single source of truth for what your infrastructure should look like. Now, don't worry, you don't need to understand every single line of code here. The key is to just see the structure. Notice those main sections. Parameters up at the top, those are your inputs. They allow you to customize things. Resources in the middle, that's the real heart of it, defining what to actually build. And then outputs at the bottom, they give you useful info back, like your finished website's URL. And this table breaks down the purpose of those key sections really nicely. Parameters make your templates reusable. So you can use the same template to deploy a tiny little server for development or a massive one for production just by changing a single value. Resources is where you'll define your EC2 instances, your S3 buckets, everything in between. And outputs are super useful for passing critical information, like an IP address, to other parts of your system automatically. Okay, so we have our blueprint, the template. But a blueprint is just a plan, right? It's a piece of paper. How do we turn that plan into an actual running set of resources? Well, that's where the concept of a stack comes in. A stack is the live running instance of your template. If the template is the blueprint, the stack is the actual building. It's all the resources you defined all managed together as a single unit. So when you want to update your infrastructure, you update the stack. And when you're done, you delete the stack. And poof, all its resources are cleanly removed. No more orphan servers or forgotten security groups cluttering up your account. The workflow you'll see is beautifully simple. First, you write your template, your blueprint. Second, you upload it to CloudFormation to create a stack, and you give it any custom parameters it needs. And third, you basically sit back while CloudFormation does all the heavy lifting, provisioning, and configuring everything in the right order for you. Now, building infrastructure automatically is one thing, but changing it once it's live in production, that's where the real risk is. And this is where CloudFormation's safety features become absolutely critical, especially when you're operating at scale. This is the question that keeps operations folks up at night, right? You found a bug or you need to scale up a service. You have to change your live environment. How can you be absolutely sure that your change isn't going to break everything? Well, the answer is a brilliant feature called change sets. Think of it like a dry run, a preview of your infrastructure changes. Before you apply any update, CloudFormation generates this report that tells you exactly what it's going to do. I'm going to add this security group, I'm going to modify this server, and I'm going to delete this old database. This lets you review every single change before you hit execute. And this is why it matters so much. It prevents surprises. It stops you from accidentally replacing a critical database when you only meant to change some minor setting. It puts you in complete control of that change management process.
Another really powerful safety feature is drift detection. So what this tool does is it scans your live infrastructure and it compares it to what's defined in your template. If someone went in and made a manual change in the console, maybe with good intentions, drift detection will flag it. That way, you can bring your infrastructure back in line with its blueprint and maintain that single source of truth.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second and connect this to the bigger picture. A tool like CloudFormation doesn't exist in a vacuum. Its real power, its superpower really, is unleashed when it's integrated into modern DevOps practices and automated CI/CD pipelines. Just imagine how smoothly this works. A developer commits an infrastructure change to Git, just like they would with application code. This automatically triggers a pipeline that validates the template and then uses CloudFormation to safely deploy the change. All of a sudden, infrastructure delivery becomes just as fast, reliable, and automated as software delivery. It lets you ship features to your customers way faster than before. So, what are the key takeaways here? What are the golden rules? Well, try to keep your templates small and modular. Always store them in version control, like Git. And please never update a production environment without first reviewing a change set. Following these simple rules will make your automation journey so much smoother and safer. You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one powerful idea: the ability to define your infrastructure in a single template that can then be reliably and repeatedly deployed across any environment. Dev, test, production, that's what modern cloud operations are all about. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. When your infrastructure is no longer a manual bottleneck, when it's just as agile and programmable as your code, the speed at which you can innovate completely changes. It just opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So, what will you build?